Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Well, hello, and welcome to a humid, cloudy Tuesday here in Pittsburgh, PA. Why am I talking like that? June 18th is the date, and we got I don't call her a guest. We got Susan in St. Louis joining us. Suze. Hello?
Yeah, I'm no guest. I'm your regular sister.
You're a contributor, I think. Is that what they would call you? Yes. Is that what we would call
that's probably arguable.
That's not true. Oh, God. See, the self-effacing of women. We have a call already? Okay, that's probably somebody. It's the wrong number. Take it. Go ahead. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello, go ahead.
Yes, is this Lynn?
Yes.
Hello, Lynn. This is Rusty calling.
Rusty. Rusty who?
Are you? Has your show started?
Yes. We're on the air.
Well, I apologize. I'm getting a real bad signal on my cell phone here.
Rusty who?
I'm sorry?
What's your last name?
Me.
Huh?
I don't know if that's a problem with my phone or reception. But I was calling. I haven't been able to talk to you for the past 5 years since you've been on the computer.
Well, and it appears you still can't.
And I'm trying to figure out how, Luddite that I am, because I'm driving a truck every day. I'm not sitting at the computer and able to listen to you. However, I figured out that, my partner with his mobile device, we can hook into you, and I might again be able to listen to the show.
This is true.
I was going to ask you how I can do that, but I can hardly hear what you're saying.
Oh, dang.
So perhaps I'll try back. Is this the number to the show? Do I get you directly? Is there no longer a producer?
No, that's not. Yeah, you know what? Email.
Okay. I don't want to hit that.
No, you don't want to hit that.
Like I said, Luddite that I am, I'm driving a truck. My partner certainly could email you, but
okay.
I will. I'll try and get things worked out. I hope that you've been okay. I don't know if you even remember me. I would hope so, because I was a regular caller for 20 years until you went off the radio.
Well, sure.
Good. And now I can hear you better, now that the traffic has died down.
Listen,
well,
let me tell you.
I hope Susan is fine. I hope Sam is fine. Everyone in my family is fine. I've missed you. I know to you I was just another listener, but to me, you were like an extended member of my family that disappeared.
Well, I'm so glad we've been reunited.
Yes, we have.
You figure out how to email me.
I will continue to work. Like I said, you look up Luddite and you'll see a picture of me in the dictionary.
I believe
I'm with a 20-something-year-old they can figure out all of this technological stuff. And hopefully soon I'll be able to plug you into my radio here in the truck and listen, and once again, hopefully participate.
Okay. I hope so, too. Good luck.
All right.
Talk
Good
to you
talking
again.
to you, Lynn. Take care of yourself.
Bye. Suze?
Yes, because my children who were visiting this past weekend made great fun at the fact that I obviously can't hear when I'm talking and there's a caller and you're screaming at me. So I was being quiet.
That's okay. That was funny.
Yes, it was.
You know what's awful is I don't remember a caller named Rusty. The reason
that was obvious.
The reason I was asking for his last name, it's so weird that just 2 days ago I deleted from my, I don't know what, Twitter following or something, a guy named Rusty who I knew 40 years ago. And he never tweeted a damn thing, and I had hoped to sort of touch base with this guy. And I had just thought, oh, well, to hell with him. And so I had unfollowed him. And for a split, that's why I said, what's your last name? I was hoping it was this long ago Rusty that I...
No, this was merely a 20-year ago Rusty.
This was, okay. Susan, the Rusty I lost touch with that I had wanted to was a guy who I met in Madison, Wisconsin, he was a graduate student, but he had a part-time job as a studio cameraman, one of the guys behind one of the big cameras in the studio. And he was such a wonderful guy and so smart, and I just had so much fun interacting with him. And then it turned out he was from Green Bay, and blah, blah, blah. And then what happened is this would have been like 1970. I mean, we're talking forever ago, 75, 76. Somebody look up when The Omen, the movie The Omen, I think it was The Omen 2, was done. Anyway, it was shot partially in Madison or outside of Madison. 1978. Okay, so that's it. 78. So Rusty somehow gets a job as a gopher for the guy, the producer or the director. Talked his way in. The next thing I know, Rusty's saying, bye. He's off to Hollywood. Then I hear he's produced a video for Michael Jackson called something EO. I can't remember. And then he called me once and said, I've got to tell you this. You're not going to believe it. I'm producing a movie with Barbara Streisand. This was Rusty! He was still in his 20s, I think. I said, you're producing a movie?
Have you Googled him?
Yes. But, listen, now it's so long, it's absurd. So, Rusty, his last name is Lemerond, Lemora, which is a good Green Bay name.
Right.
Lemerond. That's a Green Bay name. And Rusty was he was one of the producers of Yentl. That was the movie. And what he said to me that I'll never forget, listen to this, here's what he said. I said, Barbara Streisand, well, like, God, how is she? He said, I just have to tell you that she reminds me of you. God, that was it. That, somebody says that to you, that Barbara Streisand reminds, because he knew me first. Oh, you're like my friend Lynn in Madison. Anyway, so that's that. And I've never heard from him since. Are you Googling him, Jess?
I tried. IMDb him, but
Lemorande.
Oh.
Rusty. So I was thinking maybe he saw I'd unfollowed him and he called. That's why when the guy said his name was Rusty, fat chance. But I would just love to touch base with him again. I haven't seen his name in anything else, and I wonder if he's wandered off into other things. And then I don't know. He was a good guy. He was a good guy. How is that? You take a job, you're pushing a camera around in a funky little studio in Madison, and like 3-4 years later, you're producing a film with Barbra Streisand. How the hell does that happen?
Well, let me tell you. I mean, I'm watching it happen to the son of, a friend of mine, who I watched as a little precocious schlepper, but a film that he wrote just won the fan favorite at the
at Cannes,
Sundance, South by Southwest. And was the first film that was sold. That got bought, and it's been doing very well, and boom.
Well, I guess, of course. I mean, people, of course, you're living your life and your path crosses people who, in fact, end up. I mean, I was just thinking, like, you watched the Tonys the other night. I mean, there was Billy Porter.
Right, I know. I was thinking of you guys.
Wasn't that a wonderful, did you hear his speech? He gave a great speech.
Yes, of course I did. It was wonderful.
Wonderful speech. But, it's like, hey, I remember when you were a kid. I know you dated Lawrence's sister. Before he figured out he was gay, I guess. God. So it's weird when somebody who is, just somebody is like, I mean, I knew Rusty was made for bigger things than pushing a camera around that studio, but gee, willikers. And I always thought, Susan, a producer, and I've never understood that, a producer is somebody with money.
No, he didn't have money. Someone that puts that together.
So even though he didn't have the money,
responsible for whatever you decide, the producer is responsible. But they are responsible for the whole production side.
Yeah. Well, if I were a more assertive person, and I'm not, I would, make a point of sort of looking up people, and Google is now great for that. Did I tell you? I mean, I did look up my this old English teacher from Northwestern that I had a crush on.
Yeah, and
he turned out to be like the expert on sadomasochism.
Well, you could have told people that.
I haven't told you that? Bill Henkin, Henkin. Check that one out. Jeez. I went out with him.
I know.
I had a crush on him.
I know.
He was into S&M. He's an expert. And it's quite clear he's gay now. And you know what? I introduced him to Nana, our grandmother.
Yes.
And don't take offense at this, because this is in the 60s.
I know what she said.
So I said, so Nana, what did you think of him? And she said, oh, I thought he was a very nice boy.
I knew you were going to say that.
And I got so enraged. I was like, what are you talking about? And she was right. She knew he was gay. Well, what was he doing?
Nana was scary. She had absolute X-ray vision.
No, she thought every man was gay who didn't have
She was right about all of them.
No, she thought our brother was gay.
Well, that was just fear.
No, that's why she bought him barbells, remember?
Right.
For Hanukkah. He eventually rolled them down the driveway across the street over to George Kepik. Okay, we'll stop. What happened? Oh, because that guy Rusty called. Oh, poor Rusty. Well, I hope he'll find me then. He's got to figure it out, these gizmos, and he'll be able. But did you get that he was driving his truck?
I was hoping that his partner was driving the truck.
No, I don't think. I think he was driving the truck because at one point he said, "Oh, I don't want to hit that," or something. Didn't he say? Yeah.
Well, I thought he was staring at a cell phone, and I'm praying that the partner was driving.
Jeez. All right. So have you seen this thing about the little Lego guys?
That their faces are getting meaner?
Angrier. Just think that's funny. It's not. It is part and parcel of what I was talking about yesterday about everybody is angry all the time about nothing. And they've actually done a study. They've gathered together all the little Lego people that the company made since, 1975. That's over almost 4,000 different little Lego guys. And they look at the faces, and the faces do have expressions. And now there are more angry Lego people. Well, and somebody said, well, what does this mean for children who are playing with these things? And all of the people, most of the people they're playing with look angry or fearful.
Well,
that can't be good.
Well, wait a minute, though. Don't you think that if you look at these Lego toys,
I'm looking.
A lot of them are setups to involve play where there are good guys and bad guys,
right?
And leaders of the enemy forces, and So there's. I mean, they're making all the machines with little things. They got to have the good guys and the bad guys.
Well, how come there's more bad guys?
I don't know that there's more bad guys than good guys. I think that there's more than there used to be.
Wait. Well, here's what it says. Our Legos are getting angrier. Okay, it says they identified 628 separate faces. They asked a bunch of people to rate the emotions on the faces. Here are the findings. The two most frequent expressions are happiness and anger. And the proportion, you're right, and the proportion of happy faces is decreasing over time.
But I really think that's the evolution of the product lines that are coming out in Legos. Because they have movie tie-ins. So you have a Star Wars group, and you have and there are good guys and bad guys.
Okay. Well,
so
I just think it's an interesting...
I read that and I thought, oh my God, I did the same thing. Then I thought, wait a minute. I've been looking at Lego product lines forever because even though my son is 32, it doesn't mean that I still don't buy him toys.
Well, he's the type he likes putting things together. He must have been a Lego fanatic.
At this point, it's sort of a joke.
You mean you do buy him Legos still?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I know that. I have a huge vat of Legos. That's one of those things you keep. Kids who come over can play. Someday a grandchild, maybe. PJ.
I have the biggest pile ever, except that a succession of cats, for some reason, decided to...
play with them, bat them around.
No. I think mark them.
Oh, geez.
And no matter what I've done, I've soaked them in bleach.
Plastic.
I've done everything I can. I think I finally
got rid of
them.
Hey, PJ, I want to say thank you to PJ. He sent me 2 pictures of a gentleman, and he says, Rusty? Yes, that's Rusty. It's Rusty, 40 years older. Oh, my God! He's got a wonderful face, still does. He looks a little like Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's put on weight, but it's Rusty. Wow, and he got bald, I think. He's wearing a hat in both, and there's a very big forehead on one of the pictures. Well, so there you go. I'm just glad to know he's alive. That's good. All right. So, Suze.
Yes.
Okay, this is.
Oh, that Rusty. I thought I was back with.
No.
Rusty.
No,
Old Rusty.
Rusty from 40 years. Rusty Lemarand.
Okay.
And it was Captain EO. That was one of the first videos Michael Jackson did, and I think Rusty was the producer of that. How the hell did he? Anyway, yay, Rusty. I wonder if he still goes back to Green Bay. I could maybe.
Well, if he's got family there, he probably does.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Well, so anyway. I think we should take a break, and then when we come back, we'll pretend the show hasn't even begun yet.
We'll start all over?
Yeah, because we had a strange start, did we not? It was...
We did.
It was... No, and Rusty, if you're still listening, we loved it. And you look what you got. You got us off on an entire tangent. And you are now responsible for 1/3 of this program. So we'll come back and get into some heavier issues, if you don't mind. Do you mind, Suze?
No, I hope I'm prepared. Go ahead.
You're always prepared because, as we know, you are a consummate bull. We'll be right back.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. This week, great deals on Jerome Bettis Grill vouchers. Supplies are limited. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. bergbargains.com.
So I was looking at my pots that I put together yesterday and looking at some flowers that just haven't done it. And I pulled a few out. And I thought, I got to go to the Urban Gardener and get, things to put to replace them. And then I thought, but I'll get there and I'll forget exactly what I would need for something like this. And then I had this brilliant idea to use my phone, take a picture of each pot and remind myself of the colors, the textures, the heights, the this, the that. So if you see me at the Urban Gardener this week, looking at my cell phone and looking around, that's because I'm looking for replacements to the poor plants that died under my care. The Urban Gardener, I think I've been going there for, as long as they've been there. I love this place because it's like an urban garden. It's compact. It's not like some huge suburban thing where you can go for 100 miles and you get so overwhelmed you don't know what the heck you're doing anymore. It's contained. And it's got everything you need. Everything. They'll also do consultation. They'll also do upkeep for you if you want them to. Check out their website. Everything's there. urbangardenerpgh.com. Then go. 1901 Brighton Road on the north side, right up the side of the Mexican War Streets. And tell them Lynn Cullen sent you, and there's money in it for you. Seriously, a discount.
Welcome to Move Time Radio, presented by the Arthritis Foundation, and we're smack dab in the middle of our dance-a-thon to fight arthritis pain. Me, I've been grooving for 10 hours straight, baby, but I'm a boogie machine. See, movement is just one of the ways to help fight osteoarthritis pain. Another is weight loss. You get rid of just 1 pound. That's 4 pounds of pressure off each knee. For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org. Then meet me on the dance floor. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All right, we are back with my sister Susan, and I said we're going to get a little more serious. I want to talk about, this is something that's just got me so PO'd.
Yes.
It would involve a certain group of people in Washington, D.C. who sit in what's called the House of Representatives.
Oh, yes, those folks.
Yeah. I'd like to know who the hell they're representing. Well, I guess we know some of the people they're representing. But, okay, so with all of the issues and problems facing this country, the House, which has done, as far as I can think of, just about nothing. Has this House done anything? Except, no. Except,
yeah, they have done. They've blocked.
Well, that's what they do, but that's nothing.
They've managed to keep the economy in the state of flux that it's in.
Right,
They've done everything they could
to harm,
to make things worse in order to make it look bad for Obama. They have been extremely deliberate in this, and that has been their agenda.
Well,
does it represent me? No.
No, and if the polls are correct, it does not represent the vast majority of Americans.
It seems to me that at least 82% of the people are very unhappy with them.
Right. I even thought it was up to 90. I thought I saw the last poll number is 10%.
I knew it was over.
It's beyond belief. We have
over 80.
And since we are the ones who put them there, we employ them. They work for us. You would think that anybody who's that unhappy with an employee would get them the hell out, but it's just not the way it works because Americans are effing idiots. Okay, so listen, I don't want to get too upset here.
No, but I haven't been represented by. I mean, you know that for years my representative was Todd Aiken.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because he figures in this conversation. Because even though Todd's not there, there's a lot just like him still there.
There's Aikenites.
There's Aikenites. And there's one, what's his name? Trent Franks of Arizona. And he has a bill. He's the sponsor of a bill that's currently before the House of Representatives that would prohibit abortion after 22 weeks of pregnancy. Never mind that the law is, I don't know how many weeks, but it ain't 22.
Well, it's 24-ish.
26-ish, I think. Anyway, Mr. Franks has got into the news recently because when talking about the bill, he was against an effort to amend it to have an exception for rape. And his reasoning was, he said, incidents of pregnancy after rape are very low. So that's an Aikenite.
That's right. He's citing. He's consulted the same doctor.
Right. That's right. And he made this statement, by the way, at a House Judiciary Committee meeting when they were talking about abortion, and there was not one woman on the Republican side. So a bunch of Republican men who are in control, not a woman to be found, have gotten this thing. It's going to the floor. It'll pass. And there is, in case anyone hadn't noticed, a new assault on women's ability to have an abortion. In the state of Wisconsin, Susan, this is going on now. Same kind of a bill. It will pass. It will be signed. And I happened to see something where this bill, the Wisconsin bill, mandates a vaginal probe.
They're doing the vaginal probe?
Oh, yeah.
Where are the women of Wisconsin?
Wait. And an effort to change the vaginal probe part into just an ultrasound, which is done on the exterior of the body, went down to crashing defeat.
They want to punish anyone who has this thought.
What is it with them? What is it? Here are some of the bills, and I had the legal director for the state ACLU on the other day. I said, I don't understand how something can be legal. Federal courts, the Supreme Court say it's legal, and yet the states can make it impossible to access it. How is that then legal if it's inaccessible? All right, so 41.
All I can tell you is that my state has never stopped doing this.
No, I know your state hasn't, but a lot of others are catching up to your great example. 41 states have enacted abortion restrictions. Get this. In North Dakota, the governor there just signed a law that bans abortion at 6 weeks. At 6 weeks, most women wouldn't even know they were pregnant.
Most women don't even know they're pregnant.
Anytime a fetal heartbeat can be detected using a transvaginal probe, there can be no abortion. The state of Arkansas has adopted a law banning abortion at 12 weeks. They are much more progressive in Arkansas. That is when a fetal heartbeat can be detected by abdominal ultrasound. So,
well, you know what's happening. You know what's going to happen. It's going to blow up in their faces because they're going to have a lot of people doing things like using morning after pills, which are available over the counter, in ways that they are not intended. You know, they're gonna. I mean.
Well, that won't do it.
Or
it's
just
not
using them routinely as a matter of birth control.
Yeah, but a morning after pill does not stop.
No, but
pregnancy.
I mean,
it keeps it from.
Well, I'm just saying that I think.
No, you're going to have women dying.
I can't even imagine, but I would just have a prescription of morning after pills by my bedside table.
Yeah. Now the
if
federal.
That were an issue, it is not. I'm a 61-year-old woman. Yes.
The federal courts have been blocking these laws left and right.
Right.
But this is just. I don't know.
Right.
Hey, we got a call. Excuse me. Hello.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Hey, talking about abortion.
Yeah.
What a great topic to talk about in the morning. The women in this country, first off, to keep abortion safe and legal, is entirely up to the women in this country.
But it's not.
Yes, it is. If 65% of you do what the gun people do, the gun people, they don't give an inch because they think any legislation whatsoever, no matter how common sense, no matter how reasonable, is a slippery slope towards total confiscation. So they won't give an inch on anything. And don't blame the politicians, blame the people who elect these politicians. If 65% of the women vote for the pro-choice candidate, that's all it's going to take, because the men will make up the rest, and they will win these elections.
Yeah, but it's one thing that. Can I talk, Lynn?
Yeah, go.
Okay, it's one thing when when you are a gun lobby that has a in writing constitutional right that says that you have rights that they are now way over interpreting, but nonetheless they have that. Women start from a place where they weren't even recognized as people under the Constitution.
Well, I understand
that. We don't have that power. We don't perceive ourselves as having that power. And in fact, even though we can vote, we don't have women to vote in large enough numbers for women to elect that we can make that kind of difference. We always have to depend on men to do the right thing by us, and they don't.
But not all men are pro-life.
And not all women are
pro-life.
No, but
Republicans are pro-gun.
Pro-choice. No.
But they do have the lobby. They most certainly do. The NRA is much stronger than the Planned Parenthood or NARAL or any of those.
But let me remind you, in Pennsylvania, for instance, it is not unusual for a woman voter like myself to be offered two candidates. This is often the case, like when I vote for U.S. Senate. The Democrat is anti-abortion rights. The Republican is anti-abortion rights. It is just, you don't...
Well, then you got to figure out, how is that guy getting nominated? How are those two people being
Because
nominated?
the Democrats in this state are socially conservative.
And this is the problem. Then we're nominating the wrong people. There is certainly Second Amendment constitutional right to guns. There's also a 14th Amendment constitutional right to abortion. It's not spelled out as explicitly, but that's the amendment that guarantees a woman's right to a safe, legal abortion.
You think the Fourth Amendment?
You gotta never give an inch. That's all I can say. Never give an inch. And you've got to come up with better candidates, and you've got to vote for them. Like I say, if 65% of the women, that's all it takes, to vote for the pro-choice candidate, they will win. Because, like I said, the men will fill in the rest.
Okay.
This is your right, women out there. This is your right. Us guys are doing everything we can to help you, but it's up to you.
All right. Well, let's just clarify, though, that the anti-abortion crowd, I refuse to call them pro-life, the anti-abortion crowd has been extraordinarily successful
Yes, they have been.
in framing the issue and in changing people's minds. And
something's got to give, something's got to be done.
the pro-choice side has not been very good.
It's always been that way with liberals. Liberals are a little bit more wishy-washy than conservatives. Conservatives are rock hard on their beliefs, and they vote as a block, single issue, two issue, what have you. Guns and abortion, that's their biggest thing.
All right. Well, thanks for the advice.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Lynn.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so Susan, during debate on this issue, I've just got one more thing. Here's another Republican, Michael Burgess of Texas, and he turns out to be an OBGYN, and he says that there's no question in his mind that a baby at 20 weeks, well, actually he said at 15 weeks, he knows that male babies masturbate. Male fetuses masturbate. So he says if they're masturbating at 15 weeks, that means they're feeling pleasure. And that means that they would feel pain. And so, so this is a new one to me. They have never said this before. Have they?
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if a fetus masturbates. Would you?
No.
Well, just so as you know, here's another call. Hello?
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike from D.C.
Hi, Mike.
This is the whole problem of the argument, that a baby versus a fetus. The argument should be the state doesn't have the right to tell a woman what she can do with her body. It makes me so mad that what the state is saying, that we can't trust little women. You women just can't be trusted with your uterus. That's why this man has to come in here and tell you what to do. That has to be the argument. And I'm not wondering where the votes are for overturning these jerks. I'm wondering where the anger is in women who are being told you can't be trusted with your own body.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Well, thank you, because that's exactly what I was going to say. That is framing the question. The question is, who has dominion and control over my body, if not me?
Well, that question is being answered left and right.
Some man that I don't know can make a rule that says that he has a right to say what I may or may not do to my own body is just, wrong. Until I can say whether he can or cannot have a vasectomy, or these issues, this is ridiculous.
Well,
and then within a woman's right to have control over her body, she might very well have the right to believe that no one should get in the way of her and her child. That's her choice. But another woman might say, for a variety of very good reasons, oh no, I have to make a choice that no woman really ever wants to make.
You know, and that doctor said that the male fetus masturbates. What about the female fetus?
Oh, I think
this is misogyny through
well,
and
I know.
through.
So if
and
the
why
female
women aren't up in arms and boycotting and protesting, that just infuriates some of the guys in the audience.
You can bet that this same congressman thinks that if a female fetus masturbates at 16 weeks, it's a slut. Oh, dear God. Hey, thanks for the call.
Sure.
All right, bye. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. And that's the only way that the issue should ever be framed. That debate is simply not the point. The point is who has the right to make decisions for me other than me.
Okay. Caller, go ahead. Caller, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, real quick, we could talk about abortion laws till we're blue in the face, but come midterms, Obama better not let his guard down like he did last time and let more of these damn Republicans in there and take over both branches. We'll be screwed then. We'll get all kind of shit coming through.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll see you.
Yeah, thank you. And boy, is that true. It's a real possibility, I think.
Well, I think that machine is in full swing.
What machine?
The Obama election machine.
Well, it might be, but
midterm.
Susan, I mean, if you look at the possibility, there is a possibility that the Republicans, they certainly aren't going to lose the House. They're going to, maybe they'll lose a seat or two, but it's just unbelievable. The fact is, there's a whole ton of Americans who don't agree with what you're saying, who would say to you when you talk about a woman having the right to control her own body, that when her body contains a potential human being, that we got two people here. And people buy that, Susan.
Oh, I understand that.
So if she's not going to protect that child, then the state has to move in and protect that would-be child. People buy that. And I understand that. Who doesn't understand it? That's why I'm saying it is in many ways harder to argue the choice for women's right to choose than it is to argue the other side. Because it is easy to say that, first of all, the woman shouldn't have gotten pregnant in the first place. Second of all, that she's selfish. Third of all, that she's only thinking of herself. Fourth of all, that these are just a bunch of, elitist type upper middle class women that want access. They don't give a damn about it. I mean, I could argue the other side.
I can argue the other
They've
side.
They've shown us how
easily.
to argue it, and because it's good argument. They got some good arguments.
I think any woman can. That's what's so infuriating.
Yeah. Here's Ray.
It just assumes that you have to look at a world in the way it really exists, and life ain't that pretty. And every baby isn't a blessing for a variety of reasons. Maybe that baby is ill. Why would you force a woman to carry to term a child that will not be able to survive? I mean, let's just start why should we argue this? But it's not such an easy issue. Each time this happens, it's not an easy issue. And to put law in the way between a woman and her pain and her grief is horrifying.
Here's Ray on this, and we got to get a break in. Lynn, so Descartes should have written, "I wank, therefore I am." And then he says, "And what do female fetuses do?" He said, here, still another case of men denying women's sexuality, even as a zygote. It's true. We have another call. We'll never get to a break. Hello?
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Susan. It's Marge from Scott Township. How you ladies doing today?
We're doing fine, Marge.
We're fine.
I just wanted to know, I was more upset with whoever that man was yelling at Wisconsin, sit down, shut up, sit down. Who was he yelling at like that?
Who are you talking? I don't even know what you're talking about, though.
Oh, I know
With
what
the
you're
Wisconsin
talking
putting
about
through
the speaker of the Wisconsin State House who was not allowing debate on I don't know if it was this issue, but an issue, and every time one of the representatives would yell, "You can't do this. We have a right to debate," he would yell, "Shut up, sit down, I'm not having this." He was horrifying.
Oh my God.
He was scary.
Oh my God. That's a good old Republican.
Oh, he was scary. But listen, you ladies have a good day.
Thank you. Oh, I'm glad I missed that. Oh, for God's sake.
It was all over the place. It was. I mean, I was sort of glad it was all over the place because it just
showed
as they say in the law, res ipsa loquitur, which means
it speaks for itself. Speaks for itself. Okay, well, it speaks for itself that I have to take a break, and in fact had to about 10 minutes ago. We'll do that and be right back at you.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Oh!
You are round MVP.
Yeah, man. Yo, Drew, I finally got round MVP. Round MVP.
No way. That was some ownage.
Finally earning round MVP takes determination. So will getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.
Visit knowhowtogo.org to learn what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at knowhowtogo.org. Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation, and the Ad Council.
This week's Pittsburgh City Paper annual health issue is available now. Pick up one today for information on the Three Rivers Arts Festival and Pride Fest. Plus, Kenny G, the Jerry Garcia Symphonic Celebration, Brandy Carlisle, and the Strawberry Festival at Trax Farm. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone with GPS-enabled listings at citypapermobile.com.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Okay, Suze, I'm going to change the subject a little bit to another thing that the Republicans are doing all over the place, which is destroying public education. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is in this state, though, in Philadelphia specifically, although, believe me, we could look at a number of other districts. But Philadelphia has just closed 23 of their schools, laid off thousands of workers, 646 teachers, more than 1,000 aides, all the people who do any support work, they are now gone. And as one of the mayor's aides says, it's simply an atrocity. It's an atrocity. The state of Pennsylvania, state aid to Philadelphia schools declined by, get this, $250 million in the last 3 years. Actually, more than $250 million.
Well, what are they,
Susan?
What about their flat out obligation to provide a public education?
They don't care. You know what they found money to do? The state is building a huge prison complex right outside of Philly.
Oh, well, because got to put some of those people that you refuse to educate someplace.
Listen, the principal of one of the schools that is still open, but who says, I don't know how the hell we're supposed to do anything anymore. She says, okay, so I guess we just want a building. A school now is a building that houses children until they are able to be moved to the new prison.
Right.
Right. Right. This is Republicans in control. It's as simple as that. And this headline says it all. Philadelphia closes 23 schools, lays off thousands, builds huge prison.
I mean,
how do these people live with
how
themselves?
is this even allowed?
Ha! It's allowed by us, the people who elect these horrible human beings. We live, like you, in a state with Republicans controlling both houses and the governorship. And what's so funny is they elect this idiot governor, and now, within 2 years of his election, even the people who voted for him hate him. They can't believe what he's doing. He is the most unpopular governor. What are people thinking when they cast those votes? You know, the demographics of the United States, Suze, which we were talking about, I think, last week on the program.
Yeah. Week before last, yeah.
Okay, but they show that all these white folks, which, by the way, is white men are most of our legislature in Harrisburg. White guys are going to be a minority within 2 generations. Those white guys in 2 generations, when they're octogenarians, when they're old and when they're sick, are going to be in nursing homes. And the people who they'll be relying on in every way will be the people who they did not educate. The economy will be dependent on all those brown and black people who now constitute a majority in the country. All those people who they didn't care about, but who, if they don't have the ability to have good jobs and pay nice taxes and support all the programs that all those old Republicans now want desperately and need desperately. I mean, what are they thinking? What are they thinking? Susan, let me just say one more thing. It just occurred to me. Here are people who will go to the mat for a 5-week zygote, but children, real children, by the thousands and thousands and thousands living in Philadelphia and other cities, can go to hell.
That's right. Those aren't our kids. Those are somebody else's kids. And we don't want those people anyway.
Oh, but they're pro-life.
Yeah, for years I've been. Everything in education is going the wrong way, but this is, just flat out defunding it and closing it down is about as bad as you can get. You're right.
Unbelievable. Anyway, my anger is really at the people, because we're the ones. Well,
won't seeing a headline like that wake some people up?
No, they'll just say, you see, the public schools they're failing, so now we got to take all the taxpayer dollars that were intended for that and shuffle them off to the private sector, which is another thing that is destroying the schools, right? And we'll give it to people and set up charter schools and other schools.
Well, but charter schools don't work because charter schools can't have more of a budget than what is left after it's already been cut. That is their budget. It's the public education budget. And you have an obligation to educate all of your kids.
God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's appalling. At least in the rest of the country, we're simply trying to figure out how to do it better. We aren't refusing to do it. It's horrifying.
Beyond belief. Just got an email bringing us back to a more pleasant subject. Charles writes, I'm impressed with your producer friend Rusty, not because he worked with Babs, but because he worked on the Jackson video, Captain EO. I saw it in 1987 while stationed in Florida. The reason a lot of people are looking, because you didn't know that video, right? He says this video was not made for general distribution, but rather for Disney's Epcot Magic Eye Pavilion. First shown in 86, 4D and theater effects made it the estimated most expensive film per minute ever produced at the time, costing an estimated $30 million, and it was only 17 minutes long. God, I'd like to see this thing.
And Rusty produced it.
Well, no, here's what it says. The executive producer was George Lucas. The film was choreographed by Jeffrey Hornaday and Michael Jackson. Photographed by Peter Anderson. Produced by Rusty Lemerond. And written by Rusty Lemerond, Lucas, and Francis Ford Coppola from a story idea from the artists at Walt Disney. Lemerond also initially designed and created two of the creatures and was an editor on the film. And it says here the Disney people have reopened Captain EO at Epcot. That's from Chuck and Cuddy. Wow, that's almost worth a trip to see what Rusty did there. God! It's interesting he's not a better known name if he had his hands in all this stuff. Who knows?
Well, maybe you just don't notice it when you see it.
Yeah. Well, if anybody bumps into him, say hi from Cullen. Oh, man. So, all right, Suze. We got 5 minutes. And in that 5 minutes, let's do something a little more lighthearted. I keep waiting for the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is coming down with some real big cases. And, I keep hoping.
Well, they're doing okay so far.
Oh, Chris writes, for the good of your health, I think you should lighten things up. I was just about to. I'm concerned about your blood pressure. Here's a subject for discussion. Did you see the Miss Utah and the Miss USA pageant answering her question?
I finally saw it this morning. And
Jess showed it to me.
To me, that doesn't lighten it up. That makes me so miserable and unhappy. Public humiliation is just not my kind of...
No, it was horrible. It's just cringifying. It was one non sequitur, made no sense thing after another. She sure is pretty, though.
Poor thing. She was on the Today Show this morning and got to say what she would have said.
Wanted to say if she could have thought about it.
If she hadn't been just...
scared.
Terrified.
Well,
she probably didn't even hear the question.
Well, I read a defense from somebody who gave the question, which was something like, all right, so studies show that more women are breadwinners and blah, 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 and they still don't make as much as men, and what does this say about society? It's sort of what the question was.
Right.
And somebody said, okay, you try to answer the damn question. That it's such a hugely broad question. And I was thinking, if she was smart, here's what I would have said. But of course, I've had time to, blah, 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 and I'm not standing there, trying to be the queen. Here's what I would have said. Well, I would say society has a lot of work to do.
Right, and basically that's what she said this morning. She said
she kept saying about education.
That it's unfair that women get paid less for the same work, and of course we should work to stop that. Okay.
Okay, here's what I want to say, and I know this was maybe a possibly ticklish subject because Susan has a marriageable daughter. the average price of an American wedding. Do you know what it's gotten to?
I can't even imagine. It's so ridiculous. It's got to be something like $45,000.
No. Well, I don't know. It depends on where you're living. The average cost is about $30,000.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure.
Yeah, but in Manhattan, it's closer to $80,000. It depends on where you are. Santa Barbara, it's $43,000. What this article is about is that people who can't afford it.
That's the down payment on a really, really nice house. You know,
and they say they do it. First of all, they owe for their educational debt, right? They have all this stuff that money is required for, and yet they throw these big weddings, and it's whether they're rich or not. And there's a whole industrial sort of, marriage complex out there that makes a bride feel guilty if she tries to cheap it out. Here's one bride saying, you're made to feel guilty if you try to cut corners, as if to do so is to cheapen your love.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, and then there's all these things that forget the wedding. Now you're supposed to, at the demand of the bride-to-be or her bridesmaids, take a trip to some exotic location for a bachelorette party. And if you are of the age that you got 5 or 6 good friends getting married, I don't know how people are supposed
That's ridiculous.
to
It's disgusting.
Get a ticket at a hotel and go somewhere else, take 6 vacations a year when you're 20. That doesn't work.
And probably half of these
ridiculous
extravaganzas
nonsense I've ever heard.
No, it shows a lack of maturity. I'm thinking if you're going to spend all that money on a wedding that you cannot afford when you have other debts, when you blah 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 blah, then you're an idiot trying to get married, and you're not.
Well, I think
old
it's one of the
enough.
reasons that there's so few, that there's a decline in marriage. People think they can't afford it.
Yeah. Both Susan and I were married
in our backyard.
In our parents' backyard. My wedding couldn't have cost more than a few $1,000s.
Well, I think remembering at my time that I was surprised at how much it cost. But it was.
What would have cost? We just to feed the few people that were there.
To feed. Well, yeah, there were probably 125 people in the backyard at a sit-down dinner. Which, by the way, Mom and Ella cooked.
I don't think there were that many people.
Well, there was family
60.
and just Eric's family, and our family was 100 people.
Oh, well, I didn't have that many, but I mean, yeah, and our mom cooked it.
Yeah, well, Ella. And Laura and Mom, yeah.
So it wasn't catered, because in Green Bay, who the hell's going to cater it?
Well, Ella was the caterer.
Who's going to cater it? The Shrimp Shack?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it. I just keep thinking.
It's everything that's wrong. It's everything that's wrong with our culture. It's keeping up with the Joneses. It is this, need to sort of like this fear that someone will think you don't have. I mean, what is it? It drives me crazy. And I think I'm going to boycott all weddings that are big to-dos. I will not be caught dead at one. Unless it's your daughter's, but because she likes big things. She likes nice stuff.
Well, let's not jump ahead of ourselves, shall we?
No, I didn't. I'm not saying any word, and anybody who's listening who might know this said a female do not in any way suggest that we were talking about this. She will get very angry. Okay, Susan, we're out of time.
We are. I have to actually
go work out.
Get my tush to the gym.
Oh, I feel the same way. But you'll feel so much better afterwards.
Yeah, we will.
Not to mention self-righteous.
That's right.
That's correct. Okay, Suze. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
All right, tomorrow, and I hate to speak for him, but I think Chris Potter's going to be here. If he stands me up 2 weeks in a row, Especially, you know what he did to when he shows up tomorrow, I'll tell you what he did to me yesterday. It was outrageous. He could have hurt me physically. I was coming, well, I'll tell you now. So there's a revolving door to get into this building. It's the morning. I'm walking in to get to the show, and there were a lot of people sort of, sometimes you have to wait and jump in. It's like jumping rope. You have to get in at the right time. So I got myself in, and I'm going, and all of a sudden the door stops, and I practically slam my big schnoz into the glass, and and I look, and in the neck, he had gotten onto the and how did he stop it? He must have just pulled it back?
Yeah.
What a jerky thing to do.
Yeah.
Isn't that jerky?
Rude.
Jess, is that jerky?
Yes.
He could have hurt me. And he was,
Was he laughing?
He was ha, 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 ha. What is this, kindergarten?
He does have a kid.
He has a 2-year-old at home who he complains about. I hope that kid tortures him for years and years and years. God. So anyway, toodaloo.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.